Morning. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
What is a tubby dog? Here's the baby. Here's the baby. And his big frown.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Frown.
25 in Big 2025.
He's bad religion posting? 25 in 2025. You feel me? I don't think that's the original song, but I think it's close.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
I'll throw that into that. Why not? You know, why not? Ooh. Morning, gamers. Morning, morning. How we doing? How we doing? When's the next IB? It's a great question. Not something I keep track of pretty much at all, if I'm being honest with you. Literally don't pay attention. Oh, to that at all. I'm so tired, bro. I can elaborate a little bit later, but your boy is tired. I did see the DMG bounty prep tweet. I am still continuing on as normal because I don't have anything else to do, and because they usually clarify, like, hey, don't pick up episodic bounties, don't pick up bounties from content that's leaving, because you would if you could bounty prep anything, right? So I'm waiting for more official postings of what will and will not be sticking with us. I would love for all of it to be gone, but I'm waiting for something a bit more official. You know what I mean?
Wonderful day, Guardian.
What is the names of the books you have been listening to? I need something to spend my Audible credits on. Smile.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
I read Danielle's favorite book series called The Locked Tomb. The first book is called Gideon the Ninth. So I would start there. New fashion. This is not new fashion. This is just a testament to how little I play on my hunter. I don't play a lot on my hunter, so. What's the occasion? Bounty prep. Because we did Titan and Warlock last time. And then I got offline because it was like a 9-hour stream. Woke up earlier, blinked, and then 2 hours passed. Yeah, I kind of had like a slow morning. I had a pretty slow morning compared to my usual. But I usually would try to like sneak in a workout. but my back, and for some reason, the very upper part of my left tricep, it's hurting still. Yesterday, my back was in shambles. And this was after, like, Monday and Tuesday of it also hurting. This was like it hurt to roll over in bed hurting. And I still think it's linked to, like, the workout that I did on Sunday, where I was doing much heavier weight than usual. I'm talking much. Like, I would do, like, clean and presses with, like, a 25. Sunday, my trainer was like, you're going up to 45. Because I was doing, like, 35s pretty okay. And she's like, surprise, bitch. You going to 45 now. And I couldn't do too many 45s, but I could, like, crank some 35s.
What was the DMG tweet you were referring to? I don't use Twitter anymore, unfortunately.
Just a very vague
Wonderful
tweet.
day, Guardian.
Don't say unfortunately, you're fortunate. Just a very vague
Honest
tweet
to
of,
God,
like, we're going to
forgot I
talk about
was
bounty
subbed,
prep.
lol. All good though, money is going towards a great dude. Anyway, do you use a fork, spoon, or chopsticks for Asian food usually?
99% of the time, I will be on chopsticks. But, like, some days, you just can't be bothered. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, you know, I'll get some kind of Asian food. I'll get some like dumplings or something. And it's just like, you know what? I actually want to eat this kind of quick. I'm getting a fork. Like, I can't be bothered. But most of the time otherwise, I am on 7 p.m. I'm on the chopsticks. Sorry, hang on. It's like the second I boot up stream, bloop bloop, and also streamer mode not working, so I could actually hear it. That's me. Sorry. Again, streamer mode just like not working. Sorry. Saturday.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Sunday. I'm gonna do it Monday. Sorry. Scheduling some stuff with the raid boys. Saw some people were using Trials Armor had bonus sets. Is it forbidden for you to explain what that is? The set bonuses of the Trials Armor? I don't know if it's technically forbidden for me to say what the set bonuses were, but they were pretty adamant about me not showing them in actual video content. So I am hesitant to say what the bonuses are, unless someone else has already talked about them. But I originally had, like, a very quick description of that armor. And they were like, hey, don't show that. Please don't show that. Okay, the vague tweet was a very vague tweet about bounty prepping and how, like, something might happen and something might not happen. So it was, like, pointless. That's also, like, completely lost it because he's got 70,000 retweets. So I don't even know where it is. As with every annual release, an amount of bounties will be removed from the game. Team will provide more details in a future twid. So, like, the thing that happens every single year It's happening again. So, yeah. That's it. There wasn't like a specific tweet of like, we are removing this function from the game. Don't do it anymore. There is just vague, same shit that they post every single year. New merch when? So here's the thing about new merch is I had a meeting yesterday with a merch company that Danielle bought a bunch of merch from very recently that she really likes, and some pretty high quality stuff. Unfortunately, the sales metrics that they would be hoping for in order for a merch drop to be worth it for them to follow up with is so ridiculously high that I think I have absolutely no chance of even getting 75% of what they want. In Earth, literally just answer your question, man. Literally just gave you an entire explanation of the exact question that you're answering. Like, hello? Is this on? So yeah. So unfortunately, we are going yet again back to the drawing board with merch. Back to the drawing board. The company that I used for the previous drops like 4 or 5 years ago don't really do that kind of style of drop anymore. They don't really work with the same, like they don't work with creators in the same way that they used to. And I also tried to do a 4th drop with them, and the designs were just not very good. I didn't think they were on par with the first 3 drops, so instead of going through with it, I just nixed it. So that's why I had to go back to the drawing board with like different merch companies. So yeah. Basically, so like the new company that I was maybe going to work with has very strict sales numbers that they want people to hit. And also a very specific way that they do merch drops. Like, we wouldn't be able to start with doing, like a big collection like we did in the past. They would want to start small. And then if that drop goes well, they go bigger. And then if that drop goes well, they go even bigger. So I do think there is still something on the table for having, like, you know, doing like one really premium merch item. But it would probably be on the more expensive side. And even then, I am not super confident that I would be able to hit the amount of sales that they would want to hit for it to be worth it for them. Even with me making like no money from the drop. Because, like, don't get me wrong, it's nice to make money from the merch drop, but I care way more about people getting a high quality piece of merch that they are actually going to want to wear outside of a convention that you know that I'm going to be at, right? I'm not as popular as I was, 4 or 5 years ago. Growth on the channel has been non-existent. If anything, we've been losing a bunch of people. And those drops also happened during COVID, where people were spending a little more cash than usual. So they were like, yeah, you need to hit this number. And they like wrote down a number on a little sheet of paper and slipped it across the table to me. And then I looked at it and I was like, that's not happening. So I need to go find another store or another merch store that is maybe a bit more in line with the size of my audience and how many people I think would buy stuff. So Orchid 8. I could look him up. Yeah, here, let me make a little note. You should do other games I'd watch. Lol. YouTube chatter. While I do appreciate that, my brother in the light of the traveler, I've been playing literally so many other games. I literally play so many other games. It's just that I've moved it all to a different channel, which I have yapped incessantly about in other YouTube videos, so. Where do you think I've been? The last 2 months I've spent playing Blueprints, Expedition 33, and Doom the Dark Ages. No one was wondering. I was like, wait, man, he hasn't posted a video in like 2 weeks. I do be playing some other games, brother. Quite a lot, actually.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
But I appreciate it, nonetheless.
No switch? You just shit.
Cardiac arrest. Arrest. Yes.
I'm going into cardiac arrest because I don't have a switch. That's me. This is me IRL realizing I'm not going to get a switch. Switch 2. Particle, it is Blueprints, though. That's like the joke. The name of the game is Blueprints. Prince. Where they sold out in the Seattle area. The pre-orders on like all the different websites came out at a time where I did not have access to a computer or phone. And so I was just screwed. And I really didn't want to like wait in line at a Best Buy for like 4 hours last night. And I was kind of hoping there would be more of like a, you know, some more supply coming online today. It just didn't happen. Just did not happen. So I think I'm waiting to see if anything else is made available. I also just wasn't seeing like a lot of links posted. You know, I feel like it's usually like people are posting links like crazy for like this store has it, this store, this store, this store. And I'm like, dude, I got like maybe one link. That being said, I know like GameStop had some kind of a Switch bundle where they're like, we'll give you a Switch and also a bunch of other crap that you are probably not going to use. But it also has the Switch. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about spending an extra, like, what is it, $150 on a bunch of accessories that will likely just stay in the box. Because there's like one of them was like a, you know, like a micro SD card, which is like fine. At least that's globally useful. But then the other two things were like, one of the like plastic holders for this. It's literally this thing, but like it has a charging port in it so you can charge it. And then the other thing was like a mini steering wheel for you to put the Joy-Con in so you could do like Mario Kart steering wheel.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
And I'm just like,
Resubbing so you can afford the Nintendo Switch 2 welcome tour.
no, it's not that I can't afford it, it's I couldn't find any pre-orders. It's fine. It's fine. So.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
But we'll get one eventually. Oh, the tutorial game. I didn't know it was called the Welcome Tour. I didn't know it was called that. No, I don't want anyone to go looking for a Switch 2 for me or anything like that. If there are links that get posted that's like, yo, Walmart got some more, or like Target has some, like, please tell me. But I'm not gonna make anyone like go buy a Switch 2 and then like try to mail it to me or something like we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And I don't really live in like a rural area. I live in Seattle. It's pretty not, I mean, it's literally like the video game capital of the United States. John Nintendo has a building here is like what I'm trying to say. Do you think Bungie should merge our kinetic and energy weapon slots? I don't see why they would. I don't have a great reason for why they shouldn't, but I don't have a great reason for why they should. Holy chatting. I mean, Archean, the line between kinetic and energy weapons has been blurred for quite a while, but I think there's still some amount of merit. Yeah, which Reddit post are you copying this from? I think there's still like some amount of fun in the fact that like you still have to kind of fine tune your loadout a little bit and that you can't have everything. Oh, sorry. Hang on. I gotta confirm Brim's vet appointment. As a reminder, tomorrow's stream will... I think I'm... Oh my god, dude. Sorry, I need to keep my phone on. Or my sounds on my phone because I'm expecting a package that I need to sign for. And our doorbell doesn't make a noise. But I get an alert on my phone. So, like, my phone is the doorbell. So I have to keep it on today. I'm sorry. So no cart. Not in the short term. Not in the short term. I mean, we're going to play Pummel Party with Ray in like 2.5 hours. So that's kind of cool. It's like sort of... It's like, you know, it's a couple degrees away from the new Mario Kart, but... It's within the same vein. Anyway, tomorrow's stream will start, assuming I do start it, which I'm pretty sure I will start after I get back from Brim's vet appointment, which is at 1 p.m. specific time. I'm going to use the morning time to like get some house chores done because Danielle is in Los Angeles for the weekend. So tomorrow's stream will be like kind of more like a half day. Just to keep you guys posted. And like it's you can NDA spam all you want. I promise you, Brim, I would not use Brim as an excuse. As some NDA type stuff. Do you think there's long-term value in D2 for players who never raid but do all else, including GMs, etc.? Yeah. Dude, there's like people who have thousands of hours in this game that have never done anything more difficult than like Shattered Throne. Just depends on what you value out of the game. Was every Destiny person run back and forth in the same rail? I don't want to say I started it because I don't know if someone else does this. Or like did this before I did, but I've just been doing this for a while. We're just yapping, you know? We're just yapping. I did not have any sort of dev interview with my Bungie visit. And that's because the last time I did a dev interview, I didn't think it was like the most valuable in terms of information that people actually like would value. And so like this time I skipped because I was like, the last time I did one, it was just a lot of yapping about some stuff that I didn't think people would really care about that much. So no, I don't have I do not have an interview. Do not have an interview. Someone did also ask, like, are the new exotics going to continue to come from Xur? I have not been given any reason to believe that they won't. Which is not exactly a great thing. Like, I don't know if I'm really in love with the new exotic acquisition methods for exotics, but I haven't heard anything about new acquisition methods. Danielle's emotes will not be an Edge of Fate. No, they will be most likely renegades. This is not Mario Kart. What the F? You didn't get me a Switch 2. Switch 2 price on eBay are bonkers. I was kind of hoping that I would wake up and I could check offer up and that there would be so much Switch 2 supply that I would just be able to get something pretty close to retail price. Unfortunately, that was not the case. There were some that were kind of close, though. But then I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to drive hella far for it, and I just don't want to do that. At least not this morning. Your head is so dense. How are you generally feeling about the expansion? I'll be playing Irregardless, but I'm really on the fence. I will answer your question if you promise to never use the word irregardless ever again, because it's not a word.
Data crank.
Deal? Are you gonna shake my hand or what?
Welcome to the Blitzball team.
Deal. I did talk about this a little bit in the video that I posted yesterday, where I did like a follow-up. I did a follow-up to the 4 videos that I posted about like the most commonly asked questions of the day. And that was like the last question that I answered was like, hey, did you like have fun? Was it good? I enjoyed what I got to play. But I've also been saying that like a lot of the updates and systems changes aren't really super sexy. Ow, Brim. God. They're not like, they're very under the hood changes. They're very foundational changes. So how receptive people are to those changes, I think is going to be interesting. Because I think it's one thing to hear about all these systems changes and, you know, how the campaign's going to go and this and that. And then it's another thing completely to actually get engaged with it. So I did enjoy everything that we were playing, but it wasn't like, besides the campaign, it's not like super sexy content. You know, it's under the hood, it's laying foundation, it's pouring concrete, which is just not very tantalizing, but it's all stuff that needed to happen so that way we could progress on the game, on, like, you know, having those sexier things eventually show up, right? When we have the new subclasses and the new this and the new that. Wait, hang on. I think the vet's calling me. Nope. Does my dad have a Switch 2? I'd be surprised if my dad knew what the Nintendo Switch 2 even was. I'd be impressed there. We're about some of the seasonal currency, the new gear getting free damage buff just for being new. I mean, I don't know. We could talk in circles forever about the new gear. I know there's been like a lot of new gear stuff and a lot of new gear worries coming up in a lot of community feedback. And again, it's just one of those things that I'm not sure has a right answer. Right? Like if you... Like Bungie wants to incentivize people to go grind new stuff. And they're incentivizing that by giving it some boosts for the next few months. To be like, hey, we will reward you with improved stats for like going and playing with new things. Right? Because we want you to play with some new stuff. Which is like, okay, cool. I will try to play with the new stuff. But people are so anti that because they're like, but my old stuff. And it's not that, you know, all of the old stuff is... I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Holy fuck. The one day I gotta keep my phone on, bro. The one day I gotta keep my phone on. I was just getting annihilated. People are like, but my old stuff. And I think it's kind of like a situation similar to Surge's, where people are like, if I don't play the game with the Surge that the game is telling me to play with, I will literally die in real life. And I just never really think it's ever that deep of a situation. It's just, it's like, people think that it's going to be the end of the world, that, you know, their aberrant action is not going to be doing as much damage as like a new piece of gear or a new gun. And so for me, like, it's tough to take it seriously 100% of the time, of like the feedback of like, oh, but what about my Fatebringer from year 6 of the game not doing as much damage? Well, it's like they're trying some stuff to incentivize people to play around with new gear and grind some new stuff. Because then if they don't, then we're just stuck again in the situation where, you know, you're chasing down a 2 to 3% upgrade on like one gun in an entire season, because everything else is still just like really strong. And if Bungie doesn't continuously power creep things, then we don't have a reason to care about those new pieces of loot, because the way that we do loot in this game is very different to your traditional MMO or RPG type setting. Right? And we just can't keep power creeping all the time, because eventually we're just gonna like run out of stuff. So it's just there's no right answer. I just don't think there's a right answer. Yeah, we'll take a look at the TWID when it comes out. I just don't think there's a right answer. Like, no matter what they do, someone's gonna be unhappy about something. And sorry, first time chatter. I'll get to your thing in a second as soon as I finish my thoughts. There's just not a right way to approach. There is a way to approach it. I don't think there is a right way to approach it, because no matter what, someone's going to be pissed off that they can't use their deafening whisper from season 12 to be as efficient as possible. So they're trying this one thing to like try to incentivize people to get some new stuff, because like everyone, I don't know, it's weird. It's just weird that like this is the most anti-grinding for loot community of all time in a looter game. Like, no one wants to get new stuff. Ever. Unless it's overwhelmingly better than the stuff that they have. Like, no one wants to, like, be open to the idea of getting some new stuff. I don't know where it stems from. I really don't. I think it honestly stems from the fact that Destiny is like right in the middle of the FPS and MMO scaler. Right? Like, it's not quite an FPS where you just kind of play through it, but it's not quite an MMO where, you know, you have those heavier investments into those systems, which I would personally love. You know? What's wrong with wanting to use old guns you enjoy? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that, like, people make it their mission to be like, Bungie making new weapons and armor? Ugh. It's like people actively despise the fact that they make new things for people to go chase. That's what it feels like a lot of the time. It feels like people are actively pissed off that Bungie makes new weapons and armor that they want people to go play with. And I'm like, then I don't know what to tell you. You know? What's the shader on my cloak? Great question. It is Eclipsed Tempest on Cloak of the Taken King. Oh, Mac put out the vault cleaning video today. I'll have to go check it out. Oh, big, oh, grumpy doggy. Oh, grumpy dog. So yeah, so I don't know. I don't think it's the worst concept in the world that Bungie's like, hey, if you use new stuff, you'll be like a little bit stronger. That's a fun reason to go like incentivize the loot chase, right? And then there's just some people that are like, no, I don't want to get new weapons and armor. It's like the fucking Pengu meme. It's like, we made new weapons and armor that you will hopefully enjoy and go grind. And then they're like arms folded like, well, now I'm not going to go grind those things. You know? Even though half the people complaining about it won't do anything higher than the advanced tier solo ops. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Foxfire, I'm also of that mind. I'm also very used to, like, you know, you go through an expansion cycle, you level all the way the F up, and then the next expansion cycle comes around and, like, the best gear from the hardest raid in the entire expansion cycle is, like, outdone by some blues that you'll get in the second questing zone. It's just kind of like, that's what happens. But because of the way that Destiny handles its gear, they can't just continuously keep, like, increasing just, like, the stats on armor over and over. Even though I think that is something that would get people to probably grind that armor. It's just, like, if you keep increasing the stat rolls and power creeping, like, at least people are incentivized to go get higher and higher armor because it will, you know, power creep out their stuff. But at the same time, they might look at it as like, oh my god, we just keep power creeping and I keep having to grind new weapons and new armor in order to keep up and and I hate doing this. So I'm like, I just don't know. Like, if you're like a person who is so adamant about like, I must be able to use every old weapon in my arsenal and not be incentivized to go get anything new for any sort of like, I don't want any extra pressure exerted on me. Like, genuine question, what do you want to, like, is there anything that would incentivize you to grind those new things? Other than just blatant power creep? Again, like, old gear is not going to be... I feel like people are just, like, so locked in on this, like, all of my old gear is going to be completely obsolete. All of my old weapons will be trash. All of my old armor will be trash. And, like, I don't know how many more times I can emphasize that that is not the case. Just an awkward thing because our gear isn't just stats. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely part of it, too. And, like, our guns are also not stat sticks. Right? Be a lot easier if things were just stat sticks, but it also makes things, like, much less interesting.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Only concern is how many sets I'll need to keep for different builds. Keep for different builds in endgame if they become somewhat mandatory in them. I never really feel like there's been a mandatory a mandatory build. You know? I think people also like greatly overestimate how many like setups you're really gonna need. But like raiding has never required anything more than just like the flavor of the month build. Hefty dog. Hefty. Think if guns aren't interesting enough to grind for without heavy-handed power buffs like 15%, then that's a failure on Bungie's part to make stuff that's more interesting. But how do you make stuff more interesting other than just like blatantly making it way more powerful than everything else that we have in the game right now? Which is another problem. Right? Like what makes something interesting? The fact that it's probably better than other stuff that you have. That's Bungie's problem, not the players. Okay, so then Bungie's going to listen to the players and say, okay, fine, you want, like, more interesting stuff? We're just going to keep power creeping until, you know, Kill Clip is doing 100% bonus damage. And then you're really going to need to go grind out those things. And then truly all of your other stuff from the past will be made irrelevant. I'm just saying, there's no winning. If you're playing Destiny Rising on BlueStacks, don't update. In case anyone's doing that. Do not update. They just put a big old post that said it'll mess up your game. Yeah, Ben from YouTube chat, you're going to want to rewind this VOD about 15 minutes and start from there because that's all we've been talking about. Where I'll get too used to the buff. And when everything's gone, it'll feel worse. Right, but then, like, the next season, like, new stuff will be incentivized in the same way. So you'll want to get that new stuff. Right?
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Now, here's something that I can sympathize with a bit is, like, how does Bungie end up scaling the game to compensate for the fact that, like, some people might not be using any new stuff at all, and some people might be fully kitted out with new stuff. Because now you have, like, a 10 to 15% buffer that you need to compensate for at any given moment. That is something I could, like, it's kind of like a Well of Radiance problem, a resilience problem. It's like, do you build the game with the idea that everyone is going to have 100 resilience and everyone is doing insane loadout swaps to be the most powerful they can be at any given moment of every single fight with, like, Well of Radiance as well? Or do you build the game for, like, a more average setup of people and an average skill range of people and an average stat rolls and try not to build it like that? Yeah, it's something that they didn't want to do, right? Brim, your head is so big. You have a big noggin. And it makes my arm go sleepy time.
Wonderful
I can't
day,
feel my left
Guardian.
arm. Is Brim okay or just a checkup? Just a checkup. He does have, like, a little something kind of growing, like, around his leg that we want to get checked out, but that's a normal size head. Find a new slant. Nah. He got a big head. He got a big noggin. He got a big old noggin. Hey, you. Atmos, I'm not having the strike-specific loot conversation. It's been 8-9 years. I'm not having that conversation right now. Another time. We got more pressing issues. No, strike-specific loot will not save Destiny 2. Get it twisted. Do I have any full set pics of the Fate armor I could share, please? I don't think I really took any screenshots of like full sets of armor in the way that I think you are wanting them. Had content creators accidentally learn the name of the raid this time? How did we? I think it appeared in a quest. I think a quest popped up.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
And it was there. I forget exactly.
Hello,
but it was
everyone.
it was like
Glad
very
all the
obvious.
Switchless homies have a safe place to gather and be buds.
I'm not joking. They did accidentally leak the name of the raid. I've mostly forgotten it. I do think there is some kind of a preposition in there. That's all I'll say. There's like a the or an a or an of. I think. I honestly, I don't remember. I think I might remember the first letter of one of the words, and that's it. That's all I remember. That is all I remember. But it's not something we could have even. We can even talk about anyway. There's always a preposition. Not Salvation's freaking edge. I have a feeling this DLC isn't going to be that focused on the 9, honestly. I appreciate your honesty. No, we don't know the name of the raid. Just Bungie accidentally leaked it to creators at the event. But we're not allowed to talk about it. Ayo. Do you think vault space will always be an issue until the end of time? I think people need to get it out of their heads that we're ever going to have unlimited vault space. I do think it will be a slightly bigger problem going into EOF if like Bungie really wants people to engage with, you know, more varied stat distributions of armor and set bonuses like that. But I'm also like, you're never going to get infinity space. You're never going to get it. You will just never get infinity space. So like, learn, you gotta cope on something, man. You will never get unlimited space. I do think there are some things that Bungie does need to do with the vault experience. Like, there needs to be, like, the whole vault experience in general needs to be made way better. There need to be more, like, search functionality and more organizational tools. And, like, they could do so much with that experience other than space that I think would be very beneficial. But I think, like, people need to stop coping that we're going to get, like, unlimited vault space. It's just not... I don't think it's ever going to be a reality. I don't think it's ever going to be a reality. Like, I would get it out of your head. I can see them, you know, slowly increasing how much space we get. It's never going to be infinite. It's never going to be infinite. How full is my vault? My vault's relatively full. Okay, Brim. Okay. Yeah, you're slamming your own throat into my damn arm, buddy. Give me your little beak. Thank you. Big yawn. Big yawn. No, my vault's pretty full, but that's because I have just been like throwing literally everything from Rights of the Nine in there. And I fully plan on going through and ripping out a ton of stuff. I'm at 676 right now. But there are a lot of things that I've just been throwing in there that I'm like, I will get to this later. The difference with my vault is that I don't cope that like my vault is perfect. I know it's not perfect. I know it's not. You know? Yeah, we finished Expedition 33. Well, we rolled credits on it. For exotic class items, can you eliminate the bloat by making the perk mods like Aeons and only keep different stat rolls? You probably could. Whether or not Bungie has like that functionality built into the game is another story. Here. I think that like also creates a maybe not as like pressing issue, but like still an issue that people might look at, where if they make it more about a collection thing, now there's like people who feel pressure to go run, you know, dual destiny until they have every single combination of perk unlocked on every single exotic class item, even though they don't have to do that. And now people are just like grinding away in the same way that they grind away at like crafted weapons, where it's like only 15 to 20% of them are even worth considering crafting. Ow. Is there a reason why they're going back on class items having stats? Is it because of set bonuses? It might be. I think they just like with the new way that they're doing stats and stuff, they probably didn't want to have 4 items be like getting pretty bloated with how many stats are on them. So they just wanted to make class items like actually important again. Bad drowned wishes, huh? Who is the worst defender of the content creators with the vaults? That's a good question. That's a good question. I think I'd have to go back and kind of like mentally think over you know, how many, because I've done so many, dude. Cross. Jez probably also kind of up there. How's it not pure with his 30 mind benders? Well, the difference with pure is that he was willing to get rid of them. Right, I'm thinking about like, yeah, your vault was terrible, but you were like willing to participate in the deleting experience. I guess it depends on like what you mean by worst offender. Like worst offender in like I saw their vault and like this is horrible, or worst offender as in I saw the vault, we went through the whole vault cleaning process and like still barely got rid of anything. I think those are 2 different people. We're gonna get more fashion videos with Fallout and Jez. Well, Jez doesn't play Destiny anymore, so probably not. Probably not. I did do a vault clean with Cactus as well. I do remember him being a little resistant. Illinois, I would say probably Quiver or Deadfall. Just depends on what activity you're doing and what the purpose of your super actively is in that moment. Is there a TWID today? Should be. Should be one. I'm just waiting for freaking articles to start showing up, man. I'm gonna guess next Wednesday for the articles. It's been out for an hour. Why did no one say anything? You guys are usually freaking Johnny on the spot with that shit. It has been out an hour. It just dropped? Okay. It's like, you guys are freaking slacking if it's been out an hour, bro. What the... Right, hang on, let me get down here. Let me do this thing and we'll take a look at it. Why am I seeing people do this Ascendant challenge? Because it's bounty prep time, and Ascendant challenges are worth quite a lot of bounty XP. And this is the one that is available this week. That's it.
Do you miss something small that Bungie has taken away from D2? Like planetary material or a currency or something small / silly like that?
Off the top of my head, no. I don't think there's anything small like that that I really miss. But I like, someone in chat might say something that's just like, well, what about this thing? And I'll be like, oh yeah. Fishing. I would count that as something a bit bigger than like planetary materials. That's like a full-ass feature, which they should bring back, like, you know, figure out a way to integrate that completely into the game. Like, it didn't hurt nobody. I don't know, that's like one of those things where you get to implement when things are, like, pretty stable on your game. But also, you know, again, like, who's a hurting? Wow, you're dead. They should bring that back. I'll say it. Bring back the fishing, man. Just let people fish. Let the people fish. Who cares? You know? It was just like, it's like one of those things where, you know, you don't have to like care that much. It's just like one of those little side things to do in the game that has like no super insane investment. I feel like the amount of people asking me questions, me answering the questions, and then them still asking the same questions has gone up like 50%. Over like the past month. People just do not be listening, man. People don't be listening. I'm answering your questions, bro. It's like 2019 in this bitch. I'm answering every single question and people ain't listening. All right. That is off. That's a little, so it's a smidge big. It's a smidge big. Okay. There we go. Yeah, let's just keep it down there. Okay. Okay. Edge of Fate impressions are live. Yep. Lot of videos. Look how like insane everybody else's screenshots or like thumbnails are. And then I still have like my basic bitch ass like regular text with a couple of little things here. I'm washed, bro. Will we get more vault space? No. We do have more space coming in Renegades. Will I be able to use my current gear? Yes. What new weapon archetypes? Yep. What's happening in mobility, recovery, and resilience? Check the next section. Okay, good. They're actually going to yap about this. Okay. Unstable cores earned from dismantling high-level gear, among other sources, resets every season. Economy change. Okay, so economy changes going to be discussed in a future twid. Okay, good. Good. How many days a week do I lift weights? Like 2 or 3. I want to get that up to 3 or 4, though. Okay. So instead of repeating their exact words, we want to focus on some specific details about ability stats, gear tiering. Making sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. How your collection of exotic armor pieces is being brought forward. Okay. Okay. When you log in and play Edge of Fate, you'll notice your armor stats have changed. What becomes of your old stats? Mobility is now weapons. Resilience is health. Recovery is class. Strength melee. Discipline grenade. Intellect super. We knew this. What are the new stats? We know all this. We know all this. Mobility is fixed to what 30 once was for Titans and Warlocks and 40 for Hunters. There are new leg armor mods to adjust this higher. We talked about that. Resilience is fixed to what 100 was. And recovery is fixed to around what 60 was. So I had so many questions about like what's happening to resilience, like my damage reduction, what's going on. Just, it baked into the game. It is baked into the game. That's it. And guess what? If resilience was fixed to what 0 once was, they would have balanced the game around that fact as well. At a low stat invest. Okay, so this is some stuff that I talked about as well, but we're getting more specific numbers. At low stat investment, 0 to 30, your abilities will be recharging slower than they used to, but at higher investment, like 70 to 100, they'll actually be going faster. Any chunk energy gains and any energy recharge scalars will also be scaled by your stat investment. At 70, they will match the live game and surpass them up to 100 stats. Below 70, they will give less value than the live game. They make stats more impactful than they've been previously, as while there are now more trade-offs to not investing into a stat, committing to a stat will allow those that invest into them to achieve even higher potency than before. We hope this leads to a bit more diverse landscape of build crafting than before, allowing players the choice of committing hard into a single ability type or perhaps building something a bit more Swiss Army knife, while not allowing the choice of both at once, which is currently what we have now. How hard is it going to be to max out your character now? Am I going to have to no-life this game to keep up now? I think the whole point is that you can grind as much as you want or as little as you want. And that, like, the point of the game is not to, like, just hit the pinnacle cap anymore. It's to just, like, do what you want, right? That's the whole point of the retuning of how we're getting loot and the portal and the customizable difficulty. Like, it completely depends on what you mean by the phrase, keep up now. Yeah, Ghost World, I got no idea. No clue. Okay, hang on. There's a couple questions. 7% is less value than the live game at 0 discipline, for example. No, I would say, so below 70 stat, like, so, like, okay. Let's say you're at, like, 70 discipline, and you get a kill that procs Demolitionist. Demolitionist would give you the same amount of energy that you get in the live game today. If you're at, like, 60 stat, then Demolitionist might give you, like, 10% less than what you get in the live game right now. And if you're at 50, maybe it gives you like 19% less. It's so on and so forth. Do you think this would have been better received if it was packaged as D3? No. People would have been expecting way more stuff in a full sequel than just a bunch of system changes and one planet. You are crazy if you think that this would have been better received as D3. You are absolutely crazy. There's not nearly enough stuff here for Bungie to be justified in calling something like this a Destiny 3. They would get more flack for calling this a Destiny 3. Even more. Because the first thing people would look at is like, bro, you launched D2 with like however many destinations you did. And this one is just one destination and a bunch of systems changes. And that's it. They would not be able to get away with that. And also, please stop talking about D3 because it doesn't exist. What stat number would be comparable to max discipline or strength right now? This? Or no, sorry. This is for like, this is for perks. I don't know. It does seem like they're kind of floating around this 70 number. Somewhere in the 60 to 70 range would be equivalent to like 100 of right now. Is the vibe that I'm getting. I couldn't tell you like 100%. What will the power grind even lead to? Will we be able to power grind high enough to just walk over master / contest mode activities? You'll never be able to walk over contest mode because it's always guaranteed to be higher level above you. But the whole point of the power grind is to continuously unlock higher and higher difficulties to get higher and higher tier loot. Sorry, I'm just like double checking any other questions before we move on. Do you know if buffs like Inmost Light are going to be affected by the new armor stat scalers? I would assume so. It's power gated instead of time gated now. Anonymous from YouTube chat, the direction you are leading me down in this conversation is like you're trying to find holes and negatives in this. Like that's the vibe I'm getting from you right now. Is like I feel like you're leading me towards like a gotcha, Datto. This game is actually dog shit. Like that's it. Can you elaborate on like what the angle of your conversation is? Because if that's the angle, I don't really want to engage with it anymore. But if it's not, I need you to clarify a bit more. Again, and also, I literally just made a video on all of this stuff. Like, all the questions you are asking are in a video that will sum up everything so much faster than I can talk about it right now. It's the leveling video. So I would go just give that a review if you haven't already. And then if you still have questions, we can come back and talk about it. But that's probably going to clarify a lot of your questions. And I just want to keep talking about the TWID. Okay. Exotic armor. This is something that I didn't have like a ton of clarity on. Because this wasn't a lot of conversation. So I am interested to see how they're going to explain some of this. Updating all new drops of existing armor or existing exotics to use Armor 3.0 systems, reducing the amount of time it'll take to get armor with stats you want. Ada1 he's giving out coupons essentially to get a bunch of exotic armor. If you prefer to take your time and use the rolls you have, they'll get the stat updates described above. Ada's exotic focusing will only be available in the year. So, okay, so you have a year to use your 20 coupons is what I'm getting from this. You're going to get 20 coupons to use on any exotics you want from Ada, but they only last a year. So, like, use them. As for exotic class items, we'll be updating these items directly with stats based on the perks they have on them. If you already have perk combinations you like, keep them. If you're still hunting, feel free to visit Pale Heart to get ready for Edge of Fate. Don't forget Zur. He's got exotic class items. Fine. We'll have more details on how this works, how Ada's focusing will work, and the way stats will roll on all armor in a future TWID. Fine. During our hands-on preview, shared it earlier, look as Prismatic tuned for 9001. Tuning pass reduced the number of fragments that can be placed on various aspects. As we found, Prismatic subclasses have been a bit hot since release. Certain Prismatic builds have increased damage output and survivability to a point where some challenges can feel trivial, and bringing everything else to Prismatic level wouldn't help solve the issue in a healthy manner. Fine, understandable. See this conversation about power creep frequently, which is why they take time to tune things up or down. Still planning an overall tuning pass for Prismatic in future date, featuring buffs and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Prismatic aspects that were originally planned to be tuned, or to be reduced to 1 fragment slot will remain at 2. This is a good middle ground where some of the more potent aspects are being tuned down, but not by too much. Playtesting this change internally. Okay, so Consecration going from 3 to 2. Knockout remains at 2. Stylish remains at 2. Ascension and Winter Shroud going to 2. Feed the Void remains at 2. Hellion 3 to 2. Bleak Watcher going from 3 to 2 I can understand. Hellion not as much. Hellion, not as much. I mean, the exotic that Warlocks get for Hellion is, like, pretty good. I have to sneeze. It's gone. It's coming back. Sorry. Dude, it was just like trapped in there. It was like when like you get like a bunch of bubbles from like a sip of soda stuck in your nose or something. It was just like Okay. Yeah, so we talked about this in the video that I talked about yesterday. I think I just got kicked. And I think the concern is not so much that, like, Prismatic is really good and potentially out of band. I think a lot of people would absolutely agree with the take that Prismatic really good. But I think it's the way that Bungie's going about it that is kind of making people nervous. And also, like, you know, Prismatic Titan has it probably the worst in that, like, 2 of their aspects feel almost completely useless. So people feel forced into a consecration knockout setup or some sort of, like, you know, a Diamond Lance variant. And the other 2 are just, like, not good. So, like, we feel stuck, right? So nerfing this, like, yes, it does nerf the setup a bit, but number one, I still believe Consecration Knockout with only 2 fragments is still absolutely busted good. But I think the main issue is, like, stuff like Dranger's Lash and Unbreakable are not appealing. They're not as appealing because they're not as powerful to use. So something needs to be adjusted there, and people want to see Bungie focus their effort more on, like, increasing the amount of viable builds on something like Prismatic Titan more than just, like, nerfing the good one that exists, even if that build is, like, one of the best build setups that you can have in the game. I've been a very staunch disagreeer of the, you know, never nerf, always buff bad stuff, never nerf good stuff. But there are times where good stuff can be too good, and that is not always healthy. I am not always on board the only buff, never nerf. I've never been on board that train. My ass will not be buying a ticket. Sometimes things are just too good, and you need to bring them down. But there are a lot of instances where some stuff is not good enough, and it needs to be brought up. Prophecy, yep. Yep. Turn on a new way to spend your manifold currency from July 8th to July 15th. Okay. Okay. Night Falls, here's your last rotation. This week is Rake Angle. Next week, Shadow Price. I Sleep. Week after that, Palindrome. Plug 1 after that. Kind of sleep. Lotus Eater, July 1st. Wild Style, July 8th. Trials. I assume no trials this week means Iron Banner is here. Yay, nay? I forget if they do... They take out trials for Iron Banner. That's a thing, right? Heavy Metal again. Maybe they do Heavy Metal again. I don't think they need to bring back Heavy Metal. It was good, like, got a little taste of it. I think it's done. I think people would rather see Banner so that they can grind their last minute Tanash's Masteries, which is one of the weapons that I think you absolutely should go get if Banner's coming around. Pride Month, go to your shaders. Pride Month. Shader. Free rainbow shader right here. Go get it. Oh, they have a transmat as well. Okay. And that's it. Okay. 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 Let's go back. Do I miss old locations on Destiny like Io, Titan, Mars, etc.? Do I miss them? Yeah. Would I be like going back to them? Of my own free will, just for the sake of like going there and like just running around? No. Like, I miss Pyramidion, you know. I like that strike. But just like the destination, like I wouldn't just be like going to IO to like jump around and do some public events or anything. But I do miss some of the things that were contained within those spaces. I think I saw some alkane dust in the Edge of Fate footage. I think there's a bunch of like older materials, like time warped materials or something like that, that are part of the experience. Not something I looked at in particular. What are you doing? That's not Spirit Bloom, but you might be tweaking. I don't think you're tweaking. I don't think you're tweaking, but again, it's just like not something. I didn't like record a lot of like me just kind of running around, what you call it, around Kepler, because you know as soon as I finished a mission, stop recording, go to the spot where the new mission starts, start recording. So I just don't have a lot of that. But it also wasn't something that I knew I wasn't going to be really covering that stuff in my videos, so I just also didn't record it because I was like, I'm not just going to like throw up a 20-minute video of me running around Kepler, you know, going in circles, so... I'm gonna just... Yeah, no, you're good, Cyrage. You're good. You're good.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Yowza.
You're good. Illinois Zocho. Can you, like, I need you to just acknowledge the fact that you're asking a lot of questions right now. Not only am I answering them, but people in the chat are also answering them. And you are ignoring all of the answers, and you keep spamming the same questions over and over and over again, despite getting shitloads of answers. I need you to look inward. I need you to look inward. Read the chat. Listen more. Please. I'm begging you, man. I'm trying to be nice. I'm begging you. I am begging you. I got 25% of YouTube chat saying dead game that I gotta monitor, people timing them out because they have nothing better going on in their fucking lives. And I got people in Twitch chat asking the same questions over and over, and I'm answering them, and you keep asking, and it's driving me up a fucking wall. Oh my god, bro. I'm tired, man. I'm so tired. I'm so fucking tired. And I got this heavy ass dog on me, and it's so hot. It's just... I'm so fucking tired, bro. I was up till 2:30 in the morning with back pain. I couldn't fucking sleep up at 7 in the morning. Ah! Oh my god, bro. It's just... When is Pummel Party, bro? I just want to go play some Pummel. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. Oh boy. Exhausting day yesterday. Please. Very exhausting day yesterday, though. Had to take Danielle to the airport. Super early. Couple meetings. Had the merch meeting. Meeting with my agent. But then, you know, those who know, I've been doing some more collabs recently with people. And I found out that Lena was in my area, and I was like, let's go get lunch. So I got to go have lunch with Lena yesterday.
Into the game, haven't played since Witch Queen, where I only did the campaign. Any exotics I should focus on getting before Edge of Fate?
I will have a video for you, Darkness Bunch of Numbers, that will hopefully answer those questions. I'm working on it. And so I got to have lunch, got to have lunch with Lena. Talked for like about an hour, hour and a half. It was very fun. Yeah, sorry, if you have more than 4 numbers in your name and they don't make any sort of coherent pattern, you're a bunch of numbers. I ain't reading all that, sorry. But like, you get it. You wanna upload Edge Day 1 VOD at any point? Which Edge are you referring to? Is this an Edge of Fate thing, or is this a Salvations thing? What if I changed to Deocidal 69420? I would say 69420. Because that's not like a truly random sequence of numbers.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Salvation's Edge. I think I have it archived on Twitch at the moment. I can bring it to YouTube. It's just, it hasn't been a super high priority thing for me recently. There's been some other stuff that I've wanted to archive first that's like a lot older. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of people wanting to sit through like 29 hours of Salvation's Edge with like 6 of those hours being my face. Let me out! Oh, there it is. Any other day one videos in the pipeline? Yeah. I think I had King's Fall, the first one.
I'm sure you're tired of hearing about armor, but wanted to know if you think most teams will be taking a majority of their old armor into the day one raid.
Hold that thought. I forgot the question. I'm losing it. King's Fall. D1 King's Fall. I think I had that somewhat corrected. I know I had to go back and realign a lot of the video and audio. I don't remember if I finished doing that, but maybe I can get like 1 or 2 more things. I also had Vada make sure Crown of Sorrow was good, because I was not going to re-edit that myself. And so I have that as well. I think there's also Leviathan that I can do, and I have Scourge. I got a bunch of stuff that I can do. Do you think most teams would be taking a majority of their old armor into the day one raid? It would not surprise me if people have now all of a sudden seen like how stats are actually going to be getting converted into Armor 3.0 stat distributions and are now going to grind for Artifice armor of the new stats, or like how the new stats will be distributed, because there's only going to be like 6, I think it's 6 armor configurations, or like stat packages that are available. And so as a result, there might be some people who are actively grinding some Artifice armor now with like mobility rolls, because mobility is getting turned into the weapon stat, and everyone thinks that it's going to be super important to have like a weapons stat set of armor to hot swap to during like a boss damage phase. Which I'm kind of viewing as a failure on Bungie's part. Like, the new stats and the new stat distributions should not be, like, signaling to people, I need to go get old armor to bring it into the new stuff so that I can use this new armor. Or so I can use this old armor with the stat distributions that I like forever. I kind of view that as a failure.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Like,
Can't wait for the day one info dump from Datto so I can be told my opinion on the expansion.
Yeah, well, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to have a thoughts video on the expansion, but it'll probably be like a couple weeks. Yeah, I kind of view that as a failure on Bungie's end, that people, now that people know the stats and how they're going to be distributed, that people are like going to go farm for Artifice armor for builds that they think are going to be good in the future, instead of like waiting for the expansion to then go grind that new stuff. Now I realize like time is definitely part of the factor. Like you're probably not going to be able to get to a high enough level where you are going to be able to be grinding tier 4 and tier 5 armor within like, 3 days of the raid, or 3 days of the expansion coming out. But I'm also someone who views like armor swapping and like loadout swapping in the middle of boss fights as like something that's really annoying, and I hate it. But I do think there will probably be, to actually answer the question, probably a fair amount of people who will be using old armor in the raid. Whether it's a mix of stuff, whether it's like, you know, I never have this thing reloaded, bro. Whether it's like a mix of stuff, whether it's just like purely old armor sets because they saved a bunch of mobility ass rolls or, you know, intellect cope rolls from 3 years ago that are now going to be made relevant because of the way that stats are getting redistributed on armor and this and that. I do think there will be plenty of people using some older stuff in the raid. If anything, because you won't be able, or you won't have the time to grind the new armor sets to get to the stat distributions and stat amounts that you have right now that quickly. But I hate the idea that people are like going to be prepping a whole bunch of armor sets from Artifice armor from current day so that they can like loadout swap every single time they want to use an ability or like shoot their weapon. I cringe at the idea of like, I'm about to use my grenade, switch to my grenade armor. I'm about to use my melee, switch to my melee armor. Time to do boss damage, switch to my weapons armor. I'm about to drop my super, time to switch to my super armor. Kill me. Literally kill me. It's my worst nightmare. It is my worst nightmare. No, surges will still be a thing. The weapon stat is something that's completely different from surges. Hefty dog. It's not a one-to-one conversion. It's a one-to-one conversion. I posted a clip. Ooh. Not gonna do finishers. I posted a clip. We did a little comparison of like armor that I had on my Titan in the live game versus armor that I had on my Titan in the preview build. It's one-to-one. Why not grind for set bonuses? I mean, I do think people should grind for set bonuses. The problem is that some of the set bonuses might not be worth the loss of stats. Because right now there's only like 1 or 2 set bonuses that I think are good enough that people are actually going to want it for the day 1 raid. And that's mainly in the form of Bushido armor. I just don't know where Bushido armor is dropping from. But the Bushido armor is like pretty good, very generally speaking. Right? The 2-piece bonus is heal clip. And the 4-piece bonus is like you get damage reduction when you're using bows, shotguns, and swords. Or not like damage reduction, but like if you kill something with one of those weapons, you'll get a buff that reduces your incoming damage and then kills extend the duration of that buff. So it's very globally useful on like every build. You know, it's not like a, hey, your suppression grenades now do extra thing, right? It's not like so focused that you need to be like a certain spec or a certain subclass to take advantage of it. Like everyone can take advantage of heal clip. Everyone can take advantage of heal clip. Everyone can take advantage of just like taking less damage while using a sword. Whereas some of the other bonuses are much more niche. But like I don't see many people being super excited about getting like a speed boost as your 2-piece bonus when a thing happens to you. Jeb Fun, I can answer your question in a sec. Hang on. Do you think the soft sunsetting is not aggressive enough to move people to the new gear? Bungie is in between a rock and a hard place when it comes to like any sort of soft sunsetting type experience. Right, because if they go too hard, then people shit their pants about all of their gear, like, not being relevant anymore, and having to go grind new armor, and, like, we're seeing how that's going right now with how lax it is. But if they go too soft, then they don't drive enough reasons to actually go grind for the armor in the first place, or weapons, or, like, whatever. It's just not something that really, again, has any kind of a right answer. It just has things that Bungie is going to try as an answer, and whether or not it works out is to be determined. So I want to get into the D2 content creation sphere. Where do you think is a good starting place? Something that you actually are passionate about or care about. I would say if you're coming into the space to be like, what should I do? I think you're already off on the wrong foot. Because you should be answering that question. What should I do shouldn't be like a question. It should be like, what do I think I can contribute that people would value about my content? So like, I wouldn't tell you to like, oh, you should do like, oh, people love damage testing, go do that. It's like, well, we already got a bunch of people who do damage testing. You know, oh, I should do PvP type thing. Okay, well, what about that kind of stuff? Do you have good credentials? Are you good at PvP? What's your knowledge like? You know, you should be coming into the experience of content creation with some kind of an idea of what kind of content you want to make. And I apologize if I haven't understood your question properly. That's just how I am perceiving what you were asking. Yeah, sneak peek at any cosmetics. Eververse was like, you could look at it, but you couldn't show or record any of it. And generally speaking, I don't look at a ton of Eververse stuff at these events. Number one, because I know that I can't show it, and I'd rather just be surprised, because it's cosmetics, like it doesn't matter. But also, two, I don't really buy any cosmetics whatsoever. Like, literally the first cosmetics I'm going to buy are whatever Danielle's emotes end up being in Renegades. That will be the first microtransaction I will ever buy in D2. Now, Danielle's emotes are not in Edge of Fate. Yep, in Renegades. That's how far in advance they be doing stuff. I was surprised too. I was like, the turnaround can't be that long on that, right? And she's like, yeah, 8 months. I was like, holy shit. Okay. Okay, 8 months. All right, I'll see you in 8 months, man. Holy. They talked 0 Renegades. No talking of Renegades. I imagine they will have another event for Renegades. And there was no discussion of the mid-season update either. Like, someone asked, like, oh, did you play on Plague Lands at all? No. Probably doing lightsaber stuff. I mean, I'm obviously not allowed to say what she's done, but I also don't know. I think I know like maybe one thing that she did, because I left. Like that's her business. That's not my business. Her goodie, not my goodie. Ow. Okay, Brim. Okay. Look, that's why we brought your freaking bed over here, buddy. So you wouldn't have to awkwardly lay on me like this. Yeah, no, I did not do the motion capture. No, Danielle did. Danielle did the motion capture. Seasonal challenge completed. Yippee! Yeah, no, I didn't do the motion capture. I think Wrath will come back in Ash and Iron. I'd be surprised, especially considering Bungie has kind of already laid out their plans for like raids and dungeon content. So let's just say I'm skeptical.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Danielle Baldeo. The Twid today just went over some discussion on exotic class items. Exotic class items are going to have stats applied to them based on the perks that you have on that class item. So, like, for example, if you have a perk that involves doing something with your melee attack, you're probably getting some amount of melee stats put onto that exotic class item. If you have grenade, if it's a grenade-based thing, it'll probably put a bunch of grenade stats on. Super, it'll put a bunch of super stats on. But I think they said more info is coming. I don't know if I'll buy the expansion, but I love raids, but I don't know if I want to buy the seasons. Well, seasons don't really exist anymore. It's expansion or not expansion, and that's it. They're not really like doing this like multi-tiered of, you know, you own the expansion and then you also own the seasonal content and this and that. It's you buy expansion or you don't buy expansion, and that's it. They're making it a lot simpler to understand, which is good. What up, Slick? Oh, okay. Here, you know what? I'm gonna get you.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Sorry, I know we haven't thanked subs today. We kind of went like super heavy into conversation. Like right away. Start thanking some subs.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Someone asked like what I think of this hand cannon. I'm just getting used to it a little bit because a lot of my friends are like wanting to go get one. I haven't really been a very big 2-burst enjoyer, but I'm just trying to like get used to it a little bit more because they really like it. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm missing something. Okay. Yes. What is it? My little baby. Brayon. Oh, any variety people here? You guys remember that that Rayquaza card that looked like it went through literal hell? That was like all crumpled and shit. It was 8 minutes left in the auction. It's going for $1,000. $1,000. I'm not even joking. It's insane. Again, it's just a testament of like how rare and valuable that card is, that you can literally send it through the washing machine and have your dog eat it, and then you tape it back together, and someone will be like, "I'll give you $250 for it." It's crazy, man. What do I have on this thing? I just rapid hit kill clip. It's just kind of like an old school setup. Very old school setup on this thing. Yeah, some point over the next couple weeks, we're definitely going to be hopping back into some older content from the year to just kind of finish up my weapon grinds. you know, based on some new tech that has become available and like buffs and nerfs to perks, like, you know, redirection is a little more valuable now, so there's some potential redirection tech with certain things. So breach executable again. I mean, I do want to go grab a perfect paradox with Trench. I thought I had one. Apparently I don't. But I thought I had one. Remember the Van Gogh Pikachu card? Bro, I can't get away from him. I can't get away from him, man. A bunch of the sellers that I look at like once a week, every other card is like Van Gogh Pikachu, PSA 10. And they still go for like hundreds of dollars. Bro, there's infinity of them out there, man. How are they still worth this much? So wild currently that my older brother's pushing 40 is asking me about Pokemon cards. That's how you know it's bad, is like when people who are not into Pokemon at all start asking about it. It's like Bitcoin. It's like, oh, my 76-year-old grandmother's asking me about Bitcoin. What's going on? It's like, get out. Get out. Get out now and come back in 6 months. Get out. Okay, Brim, okay, we're done. We're done. I need you to settle. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brimstone. Thank you. Like, I'm not pushing 40. Look, I'm 35. You know, give me a couple more years. I'm getting there. You want up? What time is it? It's noon. Brim, that means the sun is going to be in the hallway like in like 20 minutes. And I know how much you like the sun. Okay? And you've been on my lap the whole stream. Big yawn. Okay? It's been 2 hours. I need you to not be on my body for like a little bit. Okay? My little baby boy. My big baby boy. Ooh! Come here, little chomper. Okay. Here, I'm just gonna transfer you to the bed. Stop freaking out. Okay. All right. I need a breather, Brim. I need a little breather. Where's your collar? Let me go grab his collar. Hang on. Give me one moment. Bless you. There you go. Now you can go anywhere. Stop. Hey. Brim. Now you can go anywhere. Go. That's it. Stop. Okay, now you can go outside. Now you can go outside, and then when the mailman shows up, he gives you lots of pets. I know you love that. Okay? It's a big stretch. Hit your head. You gonna plop right here, Brim? Really? In front of all these people? Yeah. Go take a walk. Go take a lap, Brim. Go take a lap, Brim. Go take a lap. Oh my god. Oh my god. Does it feel weird playing this build of the game as opposed to the EOF build? Not really. If I was, if I had played Edge of Fate for like 2 weeks and then I had to come back to this, then I'd be like, yeah, it's a little weird. But we got not as much time on it. And we also got ping-ponged around a lot in the game. So it's like we never really got stable. And therefore, I never got stable enough to be like, this feels comfortable and right. friggin'... Oh, here it is. There you go. Okay, we just need a completion here. Yeah, go in advanced. Okay. Extremely based and unpopular opinion I'd love your input on. Those are two different things. Based and unpopular are two different things, but okay. Swords are the most boring weapon for combat in the game that are only fun for movement tech and DPS strats with it are extremely boring and lame. I am not a sword enjoyer anymore. I don't really get a lot of fun out of sword-based combat personally anymore. So I'm like part of the way there with you. I do think there are some fun things in the game that you still can do, like, you know, stronghold and things like that. Those who really know how to actually use a sword and switch between guarding and offense and defense and all this kind of stuff. But very generally speaking, I don't even use swords for like eager edge, dashing, and movement. I just like, I got enough of the experience, and I'd rather just use guns, you know? It's just, the experience does nothing for me anymore. And, I just find it kind of boring. Because a lot of the time, sword usage can just be, like, mash left click. And I realize, like, guns are also just, like, hold the button. But, yeah, I just don't. I'm not a big sword enjoyer anymore, man. I'm not really a sword enjoyer. I'm just not. Just not. How's it feel to be 15 years from 20 and 15 from 50? Feels fine. You know? I think I've said this a couple times during, like, variety month, so I apologize to the ones who know. But I am the best version of myself that I've ever been. At my current age, at this exact moment in time. So, like, yeah, I'm definitely not as young as I used to be, but I think I'm in a much better place in pretty much every other aspect. And, you know, I'm kind of living my 20s and my 30s. You know, my 20s, I spent a lot of my time just by myself, you know, working on the YouTube channel and my career and just kind of establishing all that kind of stuff and building some stability for myself. And now that I'm a bit more stable and I have a bit more life experience and, you know, I've been craving other experiences in my life, I've been able to do a lot with that. And so now it feels like I'm doing the things that I should have been doing in my 20s now, but, like, that's okay. You know? Hello? I don't. Yep, no, I don't have the correct rounds on. That'll do.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
God damn it, this thing is never loaded. Let's go for that shield. In my 20s. I'm living my 20s in my 20s and I'm broke. Sounds like you made the right call. Well, I mean, when I first, you know, finished up my academic life, I was going into the television industry, and that industry doesn't really wait for anybody. Like, you kind of just gotta get into it. And I do also think it's a very atypical lifestyle slash career. Where I didn't really feel like I had that, like, oh, I'll just travel the world for a year. I'm like, on what freaking money, man? I got no money. I got no damn money, man. So for me, it was just like, you know, I wanted to get into a rhythm, some sort of career rhythm as quickly as I could, so that I could figure out, like, what's my short-term life gonna be like. Getting freaking sniped to shit out here, dude. But I always knew that, like, one place that I really wanted to get to was financial stability. You know, I wasn't slumming it as a kid, but, like, it was very obvious that, you know, my parents were not going to be like, oh, we'll just support all of your financial needs for the rest of your life. And nor did I want it to be like that at all. You know, I greatly valued having some level of independence. So for me, it was a motivator of, like, you need to get your shit together because you spent the last 7 years of it playing World of Warcraft almost exclusively. And if you don't, you're going to end up in your parents' basement for the rest of your life playing World of Warcraft. And part of me was like, you probably have greater aspirations than that, right? Now, granted, I am still spending a lot of time just sitting in a room playing video games. But I at least make some amount of money from it, so, like, that's something. Remember you saying that your TV background was great for the YouTube channel? It's not at all, really. The two are not... like, the only reason they are is because they are both vaguely within the umbrella of media production. And that's it. Otherwise, like, working in reality TV and, like, running your own YouTube channel have almost nothing else in common other than, like, you use cameras and microphones and you make content. So... Would I go to school for it? That's a great question, Dad. I went for a lot of things. I ended up in media production at probably, like, which is probably, like, the worst degree I could have gotten at the school that I went to. Because they had very little to nothing to do with media production at all at that school. It's more of a business school, more of an engineering school, which, to be fair, I did try to be in both of those majors, and I didn't like them. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I got really lucky. And I was in the right place at the right time with the right videos. Or my top 3 schools that I wanted. I didn't have any top schools. I didn't have any top schools. My dad was like, here are the places that you are going to apply to. And I was like, okay. And I applied. He made me apply to 13 colleges. And I got into 6 or 7, and I didn't get into like 3, and then I was waitlisted at 3. And then I got into one in particular, and my dad was like, you should go there. And I was like, okay, I will go there. And then I did. And that's the extent of my college stuff. I didn't really care. Because at the time, I was just kind of living the just don't disappoint your parents life. That was my only aspiration. Is like, just don't make your parents sad. And so I didn't have that much guidance other than that. It was like, your parents can't think you're a failure. That was it. That was my life for like 20 years. That was my whole thing. That was my whole life. So, ad break's about to run. I'm gonna go grab some water and maybe like a snack or something, and then we'll keep it rolling. BRB. Okay. I'm back. And I got some food. Okay. What other weeklies I got? I guess I got Cosmodrome. Which is like not really the most exciting of the weeklies, but you gotta do them. They're just so easy. They are so damn easy, man. But I also wanted to eat before we swing over to Pummel Party. And I'm realizing I don't think I have that game installed. It is only 2 gigs, though. I'm not too concerned. Not too concerned. Public events, yep. All this other stuff, I feel like I can wait. Well, you know, we're doing it. Okay, I do have solar. Okay, I'm just gonna rotate all these. How's the afternoon going? Not too bad. It was a pretty heavy yap session in the first couple hours. Now we're just kind of chilling, you know, talking about whatever. But in about 40 minutes, I am going to be switching over to Pummel Party with Ray and some VTubers. Although I will be streaming that on HelloDatto. I will not be streaming it on the main channel. So if you want to watch that, you should swing over to HelloDatto. As I no longer stream Variety on the Datto Does Destiny main YouTube channel. Thinking about getting back into Destiny. Is it good for console? Worth the grind now that it's so late? Well, Ezekiel's. We got some new stuff coming up that's supposed to be sort of like a soft reset for everybody. So if there is going to be a time to rejoin, it would probably be with the new expansion, which is out in like a month. No, Twitch is, if you're watching on Twitch, you will not have to go anywhere. On YouTube is where you have to switch. Yeah, I'm done streaming Variety stuff on the main channel. Sorry, let me just get the brim cam up. Although he might be in like the one blind spot where I can't see him. Yep. Alright, that's fine. Yeah. Like, sorry, YouTube chat, but like... Like, Twitch chat, don't be saying shit like, what game is this? Bro, where's the Destiny? Shit like that. It also just makes sense to segment everything, you know. I've been trying to keep up that barrier. Ain't important to farming weapons now that tiered weapons and armor are coming out with Edge of Fate. Yes. And I'm working on the video. It was actually some stuff that I wanted to talk about today. But we ended up going into Edge of Fate conversation as opposed to that conversation. But I am working on a video of like top weapons that you should go get before Edge of Fate starts. Because, yes, we are getting tier 5 weapons, and they will be very good, but Bungie is not able to replace everything that we have in the game right now with Edge of Fate. So there will be stuff from pre-Edge of Fate that will still be, like, arguably best in slot for that archetype. Right, like a Baron action, for example, is like one of the number... It's got to be like top 3 of the entire year. Ow. So, I am working on that. I am working on that. And then hopefully we're going to have some more, articles coming out pretty soon. We can start doing some news coverage, and that'll probably take us right into Edge of Fate. So, I'm getting the engine back rolling. Getting the engine rolling. Haven't played since Final Shape release. Is it worth to buy and play Echoes Act 1-3? That's $50. I'm not sure I want to spend. I thought it would be cheaper than $50 by now, but I would say, like, if you think you're in a position that you would be able to, like, play and consume all of that content within the next month and a half, then, like, maybe wait for a sale and then get it. But if you only think you're going to be able to play, like, some very small parts of it, or, like, definitely not all of it, I would say probably just hold off. Because it's all going away, like, so soon that if you don't have the time to get through all of the stuff, then, like you said, like, you're spending money on a bunch of stuff that is going to be going away very soon. So at that point, you kind of got to treat it like almost like a movie ticket, where it's like, for how much money I am spending, will I be able to get this much value out of the experience? And I absolutely think you can, but you got to be able to put enough time into it. Fortunately, it doesn't seem like that's going to be a huge problem going into the future, though, which is nice. This is like, it was a stupid problem to have.
Wonderful day,
I made the
Guardian.
VOG MG with redirection, one for all. How'd you rate this? Some people say D-Step demoralized for some reason. I mean, they say it because it's a good combination. I mean, originally redirection was, like, not very good, but they just very recently buffed it to be pretty good. I think maybe the issue with redirection on a machine gun, well, I don't know. It's not that bad. Like, it is, like, a good all-around utility weapon. And one for all, I think, is one of the best perks in the game. And you are using it on a lot of red bar enemies, so you can just insta-swap to killing some orange bar enemies pretty quickly. I think you just go through your redirection stacks very fast. But that's not always a terrible thing. So I don't think either role is incorrect. Do we have Guardian games today? No, man. We do not have Guardian games. No, man. No, man. Get your ass kicked for saying something like that, man. No, there's no guardian games. What was this paragraph up here? Am I crazy for feeling that grinding guns right now, for example, rather than 9 weapons are pointless? I feel like good damage loss of 15% from not being new gear is absurd. What are your thoughts on this? Here's the thing, man, is that, like, we talked about that earlier in the stream for like a half hour. And I don't want to bring up the conversation again. But I don't think it is entirely pointless to be still grinding for some weapons that you might think are good from Red of the 9, because not everything is going to be made as obsolete as everyone is doom posting that it is. And even with the new gear bonuses that we will be getting on some weapons, there are still going to be plenty of weapons out there that are still going to be better or more usable than new gear, even with a 15% bonus, is the short answer. And that's as much as I'm willing to give you right now, because again, we just talked about it earlier in the stream, and I don't want to rehash that conversation again. Connection failed. Hello, Brimcam.
Datto, I believe in
Yep.
Twid. Bungie said the portal activities will be rotating every 6 months. This is not ideal to me. Portal should be rotating weekly.
Bungie.net/careers. Also, hang on. Sorry, that was the thing I had to sign for, so now I can turn off my freaking phone. Okay. To actually answer your question, instead of just answering it sarcastically and then leaving. First of all, I thought it was every 3 months. I thought, with the mid-season update, they were also going to update a bunch of the activities in the portal. So, but feel free to correct me on that. I can understand why they maybe didn't want to have it be weekly. That might be, like, too much stuff getting rotated too often, which might feel a little overwhelming, and it can be difficult to build any level of consistency. Because when you have stuff rotating that often, like for us, weekly would be fine. Because we have played all of this content, and we are familiar with it very intimately. You know, depending on how long you've been playing the game, right? So we're very intimate with the content. So like, yeah, if you want to switch from Savathun Spire to some Season of Dawn stuff to like, you know, back to this, back to that, rapid fire, sure. For us, that's cool. But for people who are not as integrated with the game, that level of activity rotation and whiplash will be a lot. It will be quite a lot. So that's why I think they probably are not having it on a weekly rotation. It would just be just a lot. It'd be a lot for people. That was all. Okay. Yeah, does did they say let me check the frickin' let me see this. Excuse me. This picture is cut off. How about a not cut off picture? There we go. Okay. This might be an old one. Okay, new and reprise activities. So yeah, so every 3 months is how often they're gonna update it. So it's not gonna be your weekly desires. And again, I'm with you. I'm with you in wanting some more weekly rotations. But yeah, I think it'd just be a lot. It's a lot for people to have to learn that many new activities, even if they are like seasonal activities, like they throw the ball at the thing, stand in the plate, like it's all kind of the same spin-offs. But it's still a lot. Not to mention, like, a lot of this stuff isn't even actively in the game. They have to bring it in special. And perhaps rotating stuff that often is not even something that is feasible for them to do. Is it only bonus drops in the portal and you can still level up doing any activity in the director, surely? Well, I think a lot of the stuff in the director is just being moved to the portal. Right? Like, you know, we have this. But, like, if you go to Vanguard and, like, boot up Vanguard Ops, I don't know if that is there anymore. I don't think it is. I think pretty much all the reward sources here are being moved over to that portal menu. I think is what they're trying to do. Like, what's even here right now? Vesper's Host. Okay. Like, do I think you'll be able to go run like a Vesper's Host for some loot? I'm not 100%. But I also didn't really like get to ask a whole lot about you know, like, oh, what about going to the most recent raid to get some upgrades, and you know, the most recent dungeon to go get some upgrades. That I could do a better job of trying to get some more clarity of that, because that's been a very common question of like, can we still go like run the most recent raid for some loot drops? But even that is like a little incongruent with how the portal works, because the portal is designed to be just like infinitely grindable. You can grind as much or as little as you want. Whereas the system right now, we are very limited. Like once this runs out, you're not getting any more stuff from it. And that's kind of how the raid works right now, is like you run the raid once, you get all your loot for the week on that character, and that's it. So I think there are just some there are some unknowns that still need to be answered. And yes, the Destinations tab is just going to be called the World tab, but I just don't know how many updates it's going to receive. Because right now it seems like not a lot. You get both those weeklies done? What do I need? Oh, solar kills. Just get a solar primary. There you go. This freaking thing that I grinded for. Didn't DMG say they were going to address bounties in the TWAB? He did say that, but he gave a very vague statement. He didn't say anything along the lines of, like, you know, I wouldn't start bounty prepping just yet because some of the things that you usually get for bounty prepping are going away. He just said very generically, like, we're removing some bounties from the pool, which happens every single year. So until I get more of a confirmation that the things that I am grinding are getting completely removed, I'm just going to stay on the path and keep going. Mainly because I don't have that much else to go to. Even less of a reason to bounty prep now that levels are gone from the artifact. Yeah, but you still have, like, the actual perks themselves. Of which, you know, there's some good stuff in there. I think there's some good stuff in there. Now that Lep's in Colorado. Am I gonna visit him? You know, I go visit Mr. Fruit probably like once a year. So I can't imagine a world where we turn that into a multi-family trip, if you will. Or at least tell Lep, like, hey, we're going to visit Mr. Fruit. You should come down to where Mr. Fruit lives and come hang out. So, probably see him a little bit more often than I do now, which is basically like if I go to GCX, and that's it. How far away is Fruit from Lab? Somewhere in between an hour or 2 hours. Something like that. Not trying to leak specifically where anybody lives, but I mean, Lep literally streams outside his front fucking door, so is 2 stats at 200 possible with the new pieces? It might be, but that would also mean that you have almost 0 in everything else. The closest I was able to do was like 200 in one stat, 150 in another, and then like a small amount in a bunch of others. But that was, you know, in a test setup where I just very quickly had to, you know, throw some stuff together. But if you want to go that hard into 2 stats in particular, that's fine. You just have to know that literally every other stat of yours is going to be terrible, and that will affect your gameplay in some way. So I'm sure if you dumped literally everything you have into 2 stats, you can hit double 200s. But people are like, yo, you think we're gonna get like triple or quadruple 200s? No. Unless Bungie starts power creeping armor stats that hard, the answer is no. You will not be getting triple 200s. I think Bungie's actively trying to avoid that. Very actively trying to avoid it. Where are you, Brim? Backyard. Okay.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Pinged buh.
Buh. Class items do have full stats, yes. Yes. What tier will our current armor be? Depends on what armor you have. I know what mine will be. Somewhere in the 3.5 to tier 3.5 to 4 range. I don't know what kind of armor you got. Okay, amazing kid. Cool, man. Think it's worth an endgame player's time to start grinding mobility, focus exotic armor from every engram possible. If that's what you if that's what you want to do, because you think that the weapon stat is going to be that important, you know, we talked about that earlier in the stream, where you know, there's probably going to be a bunch of people out there grinding mobility armor because it'll turn into weapons armor. If that is your prerogative, then prerogative away. But I don't think the average person really needs to start doing that.
Day, Guardian.
Any concerns of people having to hot swap loadouts when they pop their full super stats and then switch this? Yeah, Drew, I do. The thought of having to have 3 or 4 different loadouts to swap to in the middle of an encounter just to optimize your stuff that much is, I dread it.
Really might be returning to D2.
I dread
but
it.
after making the switch from console to PC, I'm afraid of what I might have to repurchase.
I mean, TJ, for the short term, I would just do Edge of Fate. And then analyze from there. You can't get tier 5 loot unless you're the 400 to 450 power level range in EOF, question mark? I don't know the exact level range yet. Sounds like a big L. Not everyone can grind 24/7. If I have to have this conversation again, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna jump out the window.
Wonderful day, Guardian.
You don't need tier 5 stuff. You don't need it. It's literally designed for people who play a lot to go get it. Like, it is designed as a pinnacle item for those who are the most invested in the game. Whether that's skill time, a combination of both. That is what it's designed for. Is for the people who engage with the thing the most. It's not designed to be a thing that, like, guy playing 1 hour a week is able to go get. That's all I got for you. That's all I got. I only have 5 hours a week to game. Can I get it? Guys, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how fast the grind is. I don't know how slow the grind is. I don't have that context for you. I don't have that information for you because we didn't grind in the reveal event. We just played a bunch of things here and there. The grind experience is something that we are all going to experience together. And we will find out how fast or slow it is and how much time dedication it's going to take to get to those things. Adrian, Fire Team Power still exists. Yeah. I had full tier 5 on day 2. Am I the GOAT? Relax, Benny. So did I. Variety time, 9 minutes. Although I am going to reinstall Pummel Party. Because I need to do that. I'll throw in some tunes. Every time I just think of Bife's quote, whatever happened to having fun, I feel bad for Datto answering the repeat questions. I mean, I'm working on the 12-year retrospective, and the end of the video acknowledges the comment that you just made. Although it's more of like a in my career more than it is like, you know, Destiny players playing Destiny type deal. But I feel you, man. I feel you. I 100% feel you. Show you guys that later. Okay, let's install this here. So I can bring my 200 light level friends into 500 light level activities. I don't see why you couldn't, assuming they don't mess with fire team power in any sort of significant way. Yeah. But like that's the whole point of fire team power. Is so that like, you know, if you're the Giga grinder in the group and your friends aren't, but they're like good enough to still participate in those pieces of content, then you can just bring them along, which I think is very good. Because I don't know if they could have gotten away with this new leveling revamp without having fire team power. I think if you remove fire team power from the equation, you'd piss off a lot of people. So I think it's good that they did that. How's the doggy today? He's good. The mailman showed up, and that's his favorite time of day. Because he get lots of pets from the mailman, and he's outside. And the mailman liked the doggy. So he's getting his outside time. I'm trying to monitor his outside time because he only gets so much. He only gets so much outside time. And we're ripping. A new. 3 news. Okay. 3 news. I feel like there was a lockout for each tier of activities. Red saw you have to do some kind of challenge to unlock them. There is something along those lines. I believe you're referring to seasonal conquests. Although I don't think they lock you out of, like, you know, the regular portal. I think, like, as you hit those levels in the regular portal, you can just kind of continue on. But the seasonal conquests are, like, some extra little things to kind of challenge yourself. I think. New?
Wonderful day, Guardian.
Not new, really. All right. I'll take 4 new at this point. At this point, not bad. Because what do I have? 55 out of 69. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, I think I just heard Brim come inside. Yeah, he's coming. Who has more photos of Brim on their phone, me or Danielle? It's actually probably me. I don't think she takes a lot of pictures of Brim. I think I do a lot of the pictures of Brim. So it's probably me. I took some more recently. He was in the sun. He was being very regal. This one I posted on Twitter already. And Blueski. He doing a big yawn. And let me sure I'm swiping the right way. Oh, so regal, doggy. Yum nim. So regal. And do another big yawn. Look at a big yawn. You're doing a big yawn. Big yawn. So he do be yawning. And then I went to play pinball. Neat. Okay, I'm switching over to Pummel Party. That will probably be all the Destiny for today. A reminder, tomorrow's stream will not be starting at 10 a.m. It will be starting, I'm hoping, around 2 p.m. Pacific time. That's 5 p.m. Eastern, because I have to take Brim to the vet at 1. So we are not starting in the morning. I'm using that time to prepare some other stuff. I'm not sure what we're streaming tomorrow. It might be a little more Destiny. We will see. But either way, it will be a shorter stream. YouTube chat. If you want to watch us play Pummel Party with... Who are we playing with? We are playing Pummel Party with me, Ray, Larry, Freem, Cottontail, and San. But we are going to be doing that on HelloDatto. So I'm going to boot up. the HelloDatto stream. If you want to go watch us play Pummel Party, it will be over there. Otherwise, thank you YouTube stream for hanging out, even if 10% of the comments were just dead game. I am not sure. We might just not go live on YouTube tomorrow because I just don't know what I'm going to do. So YouTube, I will see you maybe next Monday? Probably next Monday. I have a sponsored stream next Monday. But we might swap to Destiny after it. We'll see. All right. Ad breaks rolling. I'm going to switch the streams. Twitch chat, don't leave. This is just for YouTube. Bye, YouTube. See you later. Bye. Goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye. I'll see you guys later. Okay. All right. Goodbye. Go to HelloDatto. Go to HelloDatto. Okay, bye. Okay.